This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission to
Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, came out in 2002, directed by Peter Jackson. We just did I guess it was a 4-hour podcast. TC was just telling me the last episode of the
2 hours.
The Fellowship was 2 hours long. Sorry about that, guys. We're probably not going to do that today.
And John, it's 2 hours after cutting it down. Not
after the edits. So it's the theatrical version is 4 hours long, basically.
Oh, my Lord.
Maybe someday we'll release the extended
TC.
edition and it'll be like the 6.5 hours, whatever footage we have, throw it right back in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds like a
Two
plan.
Towers. This is the second movie of this trilogy that we are watching. They are all rated in the top 20 movies of all time, all three, which is obviously the only movie that comes close to that. Star Wars is a close second, but Return of the Jedi is all the way up at like number 80 or something like that. So this is, by all accounts, the best rated trilogy of all time. Second movie. Let's get into it. TC, well, first summarize, TC was like medium,
Yeah.
if not a little negative on the first one due to the fact that he's not a big fantasy guy. Appreciated the production value. Thought maybe he might get more into it now that like all the characters were introduced. Sorry, TC. There's more characters that are introduced in this one
there's
too.
so many.
So many. So let's go.
That's
20
right.
seconds. Spoiler-free reviews. Starting with TC. He's never seen this trilogy before. First time seeing this one. TC, what'd you think?
Still a lot of close-ups. I like the addition.
Thanks,
of,
TC. By the way.
Yeah,
I
the
was
addition-
focusing on that.
The addition to the addition of the love story was, that's always helpful. It brings it back to like a normal. You can't tell if he's going to fall in love with this girl, but he might. And they're like, oh, okay, now I'm in, the regular Hollywood land. I thought the CGI was decent enough. I thought the characters were interesting, and I did better on this one.
Nice. That's all. And I'm sorry. If you want 5 more seconds, I interrupted you, TC. You got
No,
anything else to say?
no, that's good.
You're good.
That'll,
Okay.
yeah, we'll get into it.
John, what do you got? Take a sip of that little apple cidery looking thing you got there, and then take
I'm
your
gonna brace
time.
myself. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Here you go. Ready?
Consider
really
me Treebeard, John. Consider me Treebeard. You guys are married, Pippin. Just take your time. We're going at a slow pace. I'm Treebeard. Go ahead. 20 seconds.
You are very interrupty today.
I'm going to Treebeard you all the way out of this
I'm gonna
fucking 20
Treebeard, interrupt
seconds.
the shit out of you.
I'm sitting there. I took my drink. I took a breath. I started my stopwatch. I was
and then
ready.
boom, interrupt.
And now I'm not ready.
And now I'm a tree. Go ahead.
And now you're a tree, just like a tree. Okay, that still bothers me that you're a tree, though.
I'm an
That
ent.
doesn't help
Sorry,
me
I'm an
settle.
ent. Not a tree. I'm an ent.
No, I
That's
just be Denny, please. If
I'm
you're
Denny.
a tree, it's just freaking me out. Okay, just be Denny. Okay, eat, drink, and be Denny.
Gotcha.
Okay, right, all right. Okay, so again, awesome beginning. Really difficult to juggle like the 3 to 4 branching stories that you got all the time. The camera seemed extra swimmy, which I didn't notice last time, and the action sequences were pretty awesome as well as the really cool CGI. So again, it is a mix on this one. It wasn't as cohesive as the first one,
Lot going
but
on.
some pretty cool stuff going on
It's-
too.
Yeah.
Is it just because they had all these characters in the book that they had to introduce because it's the Middle Earth section? or what?
They really tried to stick with as far as like the book in comparison. They really try to pack it in there, and it's
Consolidate
impressive.
a shit ton, and it's still
Yeah.
like, wait, who the fuck is this
Yeah.
guy? Why are
But
they
they
getting this guy?
Right. But they still hit, even though they're consolidating, they still hit each like bit more or less. There's no like big leave out really, but it is a lot that's consolidated.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone is really impressive. But Denny, you got your 20 seconds.
20 seconds. So I said Fellowship was my favorite movie. This movie is one of my favorites. There are things this movie does better, things it does worse, and there are just a couple of parts that I'm not a huge fan of. It's hilarious. You say the love story brought you in, TC. It is the only part of this movie that I do not like.
No, I think it's just more the accessible. It's the accessible
Right,
storyline.
right.
that-
I
It
get
seems shoehorned
Right, like I
in
can
a little
follow
bit,
this
and I'm just
without
like,
having to
get out of
follow it.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it seemed cliche. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
out of my 20 seconds,
100%.
that was the only part, because everything else about these movies is not cliche. It's like top of the line fantasy shit. Same way, like this movie is the equivalent of, you guys were saying, TC especially was like, I'm not a fantasy guy, and I'm not either. This is like the equivalent of Akira for anime, where like, I don't like anything else except for Akira. I don't like any other fantasy. There's probably some exceptions more with fantasy, but these movies, because they do like so much of the normal stuff. It's not just focusing on the fantasy. Like this movie is specifically, it does like human non-fantasy drama stuff. It seems more like a Middle Ages type of like war epic a lot of the time, because like it's mostly the humans in this one. And
you're at 47 seconds.
No, I said my 20 seconds was over.
Was it? Oh,
yeah,
you just kept going.
We're having a conversation now, John.
I stopped listening to you a long time ago. I'm sorry. I expected. I was waiting for you to stop talking, but you just kept talking
and listening to the drone of my voice, waiting.
Right. And then I realized that he's still talking. But so anyway, go on. Yeah. Whatever you were saying.
It just seems more realistic. So I was hoping that TC might like it more. Sounds like he did, because there's more a lot of characters, but it's more drama-ish, I guess.
It is.
And there's good parts and bad parts about that.
And if it didn't have that stuff, it would just be a war movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, after rewatches, it's the war stuff is the battle scenes are still pretty awesome, but like they're not as awesome over time. But I learned like the acting. Some of the acting in this movie is better than the first movie, even like Sean Austin's character as Samwise. What he does with every scene he's in is like, it's fucking amazing. He's good in the first one, but like this one, he's real serious and real sad a lot of the time. And Frodo
he gets fucking beaten down by Frodo.
Yep.
Yeah. Their storyline is like depressing a little bit, which is why it's not my favorite, but just because it's not a fun place to be. But their storyline with Gollum is just, it's so good. It's every scene that's in it is just like, even though you can see the CG age in Gollum.
Yeah, when he's in the stream, for instance.
Yeah, but like his facial expressions are still like the best CG
it was
ever
groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking for the time. Like it was like
and it still
people hadn't done this yet, sort of thing.
His voice acting and his expressions and the way he interacts, like I remember like we couldn't think of a movie that was like Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the time.
Oh, right.
Besides the Chip and Dale one or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
But like this is kind of like that too, because like they have a guy they're acting against and they paint him out and they do scenes like with nothing there. Like they do all the little tricks in the book with Andy Serkis in this, and I could watch this 1,000 times and not get bored with it.
I don't know. It's just so long. I mean, it's a really long movie.
It is, but I find it like. There's so much craft in every aspect in every frame of this movie that I never get sick of it. And
lots of close-ups. I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
thanks, TC.
They need to do a close-up on every single character.
Ruined it for me, man.
Why do they need to do a close-up for every character? I don't get it.
I think half of the extended editions are just more close-up. I think they like cut the close-ups down.
I mean, it helps.
I love everyone's
because
face.
They're like, okay, you kind of get a feeling of how just enormous what's going on behind you is as the camera, but like I don't know, it's just.
And don't you love it? Like Elijah Wood has the biggest, wettest eyes.
No,
when they
that's
zoom
my
in
least
on him.
favorite. I think it's the worst.
I love it.
To look at when he looks like that.
I feel like
I
just want to make fun of him.
Yeah, it's a horror movie thing almost. Maybe that's like Peter Jackson's roots, though. Just really lingering on their expressions as they're experiencing stuff. It's like you do that in a horror film all the time, right? As people are scared. And it seems like it's almost like that, but then just with all these, whatever other emotions are going on that are big. Like there's a lot of lingering on people's faces, depending whatever's going on, letting you like soak up what their reactions are. And again, it is, and once you get used to it, it's not something that bothers me. I don't know. I just feel like this is the style of it.
I think the acting is great almost all the time.
If the acting was
shots.
not good, then this would really be awful, right? Yeah. I mean, it would be really, really annoying to sit there and watch somebody like badly.
And this movie exposes that, because I think there are two characters that are newly introduced in this movie. That one of them I think is really badly cast and not a good actor, and one of them is like medium. And it really shows because they do the same type of filmmaking where they show their faces a lot. Mm-hmm. And whenever they do that, I'm just like, this isn't good. And I want to drop like Éowyn. I think Éowyn is miscast, and I don't think she's a good actor. Mm-hmm. And they do her a lot of crying face and stuff like that. I'm like, this is not like what I want.
Slow-mo. It was like a soap opera when she looks back
but
at
if
him
it's
on
somebody
the
else,
if it's somebody else,
then I like it. Like it kind of exposes the cracks where it's like it is because of the acting, and I'm on board with these other characters that it's working. If you had somebody that wasn't as perfect, and it's not just me. People love these movies. Oh, if they weren't like so good at acting and so perfectly cast and fit their role, I don't get bored of staring at their faces for literally hours on end. It's like this.
right.
These movies are 12 hours long for the theatrical cuts, or for the extended cuts, and yeah, I don't know. There's something about
You
them.
love it.
I love
are
it,
a
dude.
super fan.
I apologize. There's nothing
No,
else
you
I
should
can
not.
say.
You should not
I
apologize.
mean, it's over now. I mean, it's, I don't have to deal with it
I'm
ever
done
again.
it. I'm okay. It's already done. The shot's done. You don't need to
Exactly.
tell me why I need to have it anymore.
Also, these past couple of weeks, we're doing like 2 weeks per episode. Like we're watching. Naomi's like on board watching the special features now.
Oh, nice.
All the special features are the best ever. Like I redact my statement if there is anything else close to this. This is by far the best. It makes you appreciate all aspects of movie making, and it also presents it in a way where like every aspect of the way this movie was made was given like the biggest backing it's ever gotten in history and will ever get. And like all these talented people and artists got to do so much, like got to influence the movie so much. And it all filtered through Peter Jackson. There's hundreds of artists filtering things through Peter Jackson, and it's coming out coherent. It's like
a Star
ridiculous.
Wars thing. It's kind of reminds me of the Star Wars stuff that we'd read about, and too, where they had so many talented people. I imagine too, what's probably coming through on these behind the scenes stuff is how much everybody is passionate about what they're doing and really loves it and wants it to be the best thing because they really like the material. They really want to bring material to life, and it really comes through in the film, whether it's the actors, especially the principals, or the people doing the effects, or the everybody here was like wanting to do the best, right?
It's like
that
everyone's
probably
carrying their
comes
weight
through,
in
right?
this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing how there's so many moving pieces and nobody's dropping the ball. Everybody's is doing an amazing, groundbreaking job. Yeah, it's awesome. I fucking love it. I have nothing but like positive things to say. The couple of love scene things, I'm like, whatever. Aragorn wouldn't go for her, man. Look at her. She's not as hot as Liv Tyler. This is stupid.
No, but it does keep to the books. The books have those. It doesn't dwell on them as much as the movie does, but there are certainly those aspects of the book where Aragorn. Because I mean the other woman serves to sort of highlight his relationship and how she's immortal and the choices that she made and what kind of life could he have here, and so it's really only much more lightly touched on in the book. But it makes sense in the movie. They're like trying to be like, well, look, we gotta have something for the ladies or the romantically inclined.
Gotta have something for TC over here.
That's right.
Well,
That's
right.
You gotta
But
have something for
TC's
the,
point, it feels more grounded and real, or just kind of more normal drama type stuff with some interesting twists.
So you can ignore all the
she's immortal,
characters
he's not.
and be like, I know what's
Yeah.
going on here at least.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
There's so many
Nobody
people.
thought the camera was swimmy.
Once I noticed
it,
it had to have been the
started
CG stuff, right?
You don't
Because
love
they were
it?
like moving around and things were
constantly
blown
the
up.
camera was always
Oh, it's bumping.
moving.
They're bumping the lamp in this one. It was basically like anytime they had a chance to rotate the camera around. I mean, there was reasons like specifically for the running scenes. They're moving, so the camera's going to be moving. That's simple. A lot of the stuff where they're being like moving around with Gollum, they wanted to like really convince you because they knew the CG tech was like kind of not great. For a lot of it, so
extra
the
movement
camera
helps.
Yeah, move the camera
Yeah.
around so like you're distracted and you can't focus on like how the maybe the CG.
Right, which
print
I knew when
isn't
it
as
went
good.
blurry. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of rendering going on there. They had to like shake it so that we don't
and it
see
works
how bad it was.
really well. Like
It did work.
Gollum looks the worst when it's the back of his head and the camera isn't moving. If it's like any other part of him and the camera's moving, or it's the front of his face where like they probably spent a lot more time focusing on it.
Yeah.
Well,
it looks
and
pretty
there's
freaking
more
good.
to watch
Yeah, it
there.
did.
There's an expression and stuff to watch as he's doing it, so it sort of feels more alive, even if it's still animated in the same way. But it still holds up quite well. I think
It does. It's weird because it's like I think I'm blinded by the first one. This one I'm not so blinded by. You can tell it's CG, right? Like he's a CG character.
But even that first scene where they meet him and they have the big scuffle, it's still really fucking well done. Like he's leaping off at them and
The way it's put
CG.
together is amazing. Like there's things that you can kind of explain it away where it's just like, well, at least this is extremely linear action and like some of the shots are amazing. Like the end of it too, where he has like the sword to him and stuff.
It's
really
so good. Like
awesome.
if you just focus on Gollum, you can see there's a less of a sense of depth or weight to him that you would probably get in a more modern version of this. But otherwise, everything else, the way it's choreographed and to give this sense that they're actually struggling with somebody, it's top notch.
Well, he was there a lot of the time.
Yeah,
They actually they painted over Andy Serkis.
pretty much. So it's like,
they redid the movie. Like, I don't know if you noticed how in the first movie, they finished the first movie while they were like filming the second one. Like, even though they were released a year apart and they were filmed at the same time, there was still some linearity on like how the production went. And the image of Gollum in the first movie, totally different model. You can barely see him because it's like it's in the dark and they're in the Mines of Moria.
Right, you don't see at most. You just have an image of his face with his eyes.
Right. At that point in time, when they made that CG image in that first movie, Andy Serkis was not cast. They didn't get a cast. They thought they put out a casting call for 3 weeks worth of voice work for Gollum because they thought it was they were just gonna like figure it out CG, not have an actor do it. They didn't know what the hell they were gonna do, but they just thought it was gonna be a quick voice work thing. So Andy Serkis, who was a circus performer, a rock climber, a nobody actor at the time. He's one of the biggest he's revolutionized an industry basically since this movie happened. But he came in for an audition and he was moving around. Like, to get into the voice that he was doing, he had to move around and act. And they thought the audition tape was so awesome, they rethunk the entire thing.
Wow.
Like they expanded the role to be like, you have to be there with them, interacting with them. And he was like, there's behind the scenes footage of him acting in the scenes where they're there, and he's in this green freaking jumpsuit with looks like a pantyhose thing like pulled over his head. It looks
little
stupid
ping pong balls
as
on him or
fuck.
something.
No ping pong balls. No, it was before that.
Just the green suit.
It was just a green suit.
Before even they had the ping pong balls.
Yeah, because they literally
right?
there was no computer learning to paint over him. They had to paint digitally, frame by frame, over him with animation.
Jesus,
completely like painstakingly old school. Like, it's amazing.
No, it's amazing. It is
so much work.
I don't like the voice.
I love the voice. Are you kidding me?
I thought it landed. I mean, it was definitely creepy.
I don't know.
When they were talking back and forth to each other. That's
that was good. I think what it is, it's like there's a thing a lot of character actors do where they just, instead of putting the breath through the mouth, you put it through the nose, and so you get it's like this kind of.
What was that, John?
Best episode yet. TC.
So air is coming through your nose. So
we're gonna put that in the next song.
So you don't know if Gollum or you might be
Daffy Duck or
John. If you think you're close, you're wrong.
Or you might be if you do that, but then you put it down further. Anyway, it just
vocal coach over here. Yeah. John Stricker, vocal coach. This
that's
is
right.
Good.
So anyway, I think it just feels like that's
Scooby Doo. Do Scooby Doo.
Right, Rocky. It's like just putting the breath through your nose instead. And so for some reason, it seems like, I don't know. I think he would have been even more interesting to not put the vocal trick on, but to have a more normal-ish voice. I think it would have made him more relatable and scary.
I don't know.
Disagree more.
I know. You've been like, hi, I'm Gollum.
Hi, hey, can I have that ring? I'd like your ring, please.
That's
Hello,
my precious over there. It's mine, please.
Precious.
Give me that back.
Come on over here,
precious.
Hobbits is maybe not. I don't know. Anyway,
this is why you're not in movies, John. That's a terrible fucking idea.
That's a bad idea.
You'd be fired on the spot.
You're
totally reformed the movie based on that voice.
Peter, what if Gollum talked normal? Peter. Yeah, thanks. You're fired.
Hey, what if hobbits were the same size as everybody else?
Would we relate to them more? We'd like them better, right? Come on, it's hard to like them when they're so tiny, you know. You're right. Before we forget to another thing in this movie, I love there are, and this is in the book directly almost, but there's great speeches about finding good in the world and the importance of struggling.
Oh, Samwise's last speech at the end.
It's
there?
Beautiful. It's so well done, and like you said, Samwise is so
he stands out.
He's just so good. He does this earnest thing well without being annoying. Like
when he's yelling at Faramir, it's like it's so satisfying. I fucking love that scene when they're in the cave. Good. Yeah, there's so many. Every time he's talking in this movie, now that I'm focusing from like the podcast on things, like it's. I know why I like this one more and less in other ways. Oh, John's gone now.
No, that's TC's gone. You don't even know who the fuck I am, do you?
No,
whatever.
No, whatever. But like, yeah, he was amazing in the first one. He's even better in this one. I'm interested to see, like, I think he's pretty good in the third one too. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I don't know what you guys think of the Gimli and Orlando Bloom characters. Like
I think it's
Legolas's
overplayed.
humor
In the
section.
book it's more subtle.
You know, I mean,
No, in the book it's a little more subtle and
they
really
spend
cool.
so much time on showing like children's faces of how important it is to like protect Helm's Deep, and then they're just like, I have two, ha, and you're like, dude,
I know.
if you lose, children are gonna die. Didn't they just spend like 5 minutes showing you like what the stakes are in this?
Well, I also didn't like too. Just I think like okay, play Gimli's side for comedy once or twice. That's fine, but they just do it a lot. Like
they do it a
he's just
lot.
like
he
the
is
side,
a joke in this
the
movie.
goofy side. Yeah, he's the joke, and that's also not
Throw
fair
me.
to the character.
Throw me.
either.
I like
Throw
that
me.
one though.
Don't tell the
Yeah,
others.
that's fine. I know. Again, John Rhys Davies is a treasure, and he's awesome no matter what.
He's
but-
also
but-
Treebeard. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He's Treebeard too.
Once you know, you can really hear it too, right?
Yeah.
But
Once you know, but before I didn't. Like we
I
were
didn't
watching the
know.
commentary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known
It's
that.
pretty awesome.
In the book, it's just a little more subtle, I think, in terms of it's this idea of these. The idea is really awesome that elves and dwarves are pretty much they hate each other, and that these two have a friendship, and that's cool. And I think it's just played a little too, I don't know, bluntly, I guess. Just like
I loved it the
see
first
that?
time I watched it. No, maybe the first 5 times I watched it, but now it's just like, okay, you're like kind of breaking the seriousness of the situation.
Right. And maybe they want to though. They're allowing that to not make it the film too tense all the time or something with all these battles. But
that's what
weird.
I want on after 100 rewatches or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Not that much, but I want it to be like tonally consistent.
Well,
as a viewer.
and I kind of felt that was kind of hard with the battles too. I didn't always get it. I didn't get a sense of progression to the battles because just this happened, then this happened, then this. Oh, then
what are you
there's
talking
this
about?
comedy
They
bit.
blow
then
the
there's-
freaking wall up and then they storm the thing. Like Helm's
Then the
Deep
water
is super
comes,
linear.
and then-
Like it's
I don't know.
it's amazing. Like
It-
that battle scene is
when the
Oh, no,
trees
it is
come in,
beautiful.
that's
I'm
the
not saying-
bad. That's the best part.
it's-
When the
yeah.
trees come in,
the
for
trees.
sure.
No, any of those scenes are awesome. I just felt like with the Helm's Deep battle, it just seemed to sort of go on for a long time, and I didn't get a sense of they did this, no, they did this, no.
Oh,
that's
John, are
happening,
you getting
now this.
tired? John, were you getting tired in the
I
middle of the
was.
battle
I was
scene?
getting tired. I was
It's like,
absolutely
look,
getting tired.
What's going to happen with the battle? It's going on forever, and I don't know what's
Wait,
going
so
to happen.
TC is actually participating. Let's let him talk for a second here. Were you getting tired in a bad way, or just because it's a really long scene?
Just because it's a really long movie, I was getting tired.
Don't blame the scene.
I
Blame
had
the
to, yeah,
movie.
it's the entire movie. It's just
Yeah.
a little bit slow, but
That's also
even
fair.
in the battle scenes, it can be a little bit slow because they go on for a while, like you're saying, John.
And the thing is, the part
You
of
get
the
it
reason,
after a while.
Yeah, I
The
just
toughest
lose
part-
track. I like, okay, now they're outside. That guy's outside the castle. Then they're back in. Then they're outside. Now he's over there. Now they're going across the bridge.
But it makes sense totally. The way they edit it together, it totally freaking makes sense. Gimli jumps down, he's down there. Aragorn goes down to save him, he's down there. Freaking Legolas sees them down there, slides down the stairs, and the goddamn shield.
the
Holy
shield
shit!
That was the
Forged
be-
down
I
the
was
stairs.
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
Was getting ready to be like that might be the best like skateboarding call I've ever seen in a movie.
That's nice.
I heard a little sarcasm in your singing of the song there, John, but you better not be fucking sarcastic with the Legolas sliding down the stairs. So good.
No, it's again though. It's interesting tonally with the seriousness of the film and the battle, right? And they're talking, and so there, I sort of maybe that's what I'm feeling too. Is the switches in tones are pretty abrupt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
And it's because the story is scattered. Like it's probably easier to edit the first story together because everyone is together. In this one, in the book, apparently they tell one story after the other without
they
editing
do.
them
But I'm
together.
talking about this is just within the Battle of Helm's Deep, though. Even in that one single battle,
They keep cutting to the tree conversation in the middle of the battle.
Oh, I know,
right?
I know. I'm sorry.
It's like
But
that's
I'm
fucking
okay,
weird.
But let's stay with the battle. Even in
Okay.
that battle, even if you're cutting across, the tone shifts quite a bit, and that is
With the
weird.
jokes specifically,
There's some
think of?
jokes, or he's sliding down the shield. It's just.
I
and the
thought that fit.
seriousness-
I thought the sliding fit.
Did it? I don't know.
I thought the
It's-
jokes were the only thing that kind of broke.
Yeah, I don't know.
those scenes a
I
little
just
bit.
feel like it's just sort of like bumpy.
It's bumpy.
like the stairs were bumpy.
But isn't that what battle is like, John? Isn't it
Battle is
battle
bumpy.
bumpy?
And life, when you put it that way,
Yeah.
life is that way too.
Battle of Helm's Deep is like life. It's bumpy.
That's right. It's bumpy.
Life
Fine.
is
Anyway.
bumpy.
I still love
Just
it.
like
though.
the Lord of the Rings.
I'm not complaining too hard. It's still awesome.
No, it's easier to criticize this one for sure because I think it's the middle. The hardest thing is like
No, it's
there's no
hard.
beginning and there's no end to this movie, right? It's like it starts in the
true.
middle,
It's
it ends
just-
in the middle.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
constant battle. They're always
and it-
marching towards something the entire
Yeah.
movie.
Well, again, it's super hard and like you said, the book like actually puts the stories more in sequence and separates them. It doesn't interleave them so much.
Does it do it at all? They were saying it didn't do it at all. It just like
I think there might have been tiny bits, but you're right. Like the very last fourth of the book or so is all just about Gollum and the hobbits, and that's it. And so yeah, they really separated out pretty much like that. And I in the way the book, it reads a lot better that way. I kind of like that. I don't want really to be separating back and forth.
I don't like it either, but I think for a movie you have to do it this way because you want all the climaxes to happen at the end.
Right.
Because I mean,
That's a good
having like what was that newest Wes Anderson movie? Whenever there's like 3 mini movies in a row, like fuck that noise. I have to restart 3 times in 2 hours. That is so exhausting. That's more exhausting than watching a 3-hour long movie with like 3 different storylines.
It was interesting. I thought their choice to end it the way they did on Gollum and the Hobbits in sort of a mellow fading out tone, as opposed to like you have Gandalf saying the war begins.
Right.
It seems like a pretty good high point to end on.
But that scene looks the worst in the movie. You can't end it on the most. I mean, TC complained here. It looks green screen like that. Those shots when they were sitting on the mountaintop talking, like looking over Fangorn Forest and talking about those shots look like shit.
I know. Maybe that's why the shots look like shit.
Story-wise, it would have been the great done.
Right. It feels like the setup. The war begins, and all of our hopes lie upon 2 hobbits.
Credits.
Boom.
Yeah,
you're done.
right.
As opposed to they're just kind of wandering off. Oh, look, there's
like,
the fires.
oh, well, okay, so I guess we got to go there now. All right.
Yeah. Which way to the volcano?
Can we get like a shower or maybe a meal first? I don't know.
This movie actually has so the extended edition has a couple of scenes. The first movie, I appreciate all the cuts from the extended edition to the theatrical cut. This movie has 2 scenes that I wish were included in the theatrical cut. One of them is the end. They have kind of a coda on the Battle of Isengard with Merry and Pippin. At the end, they find they're wading in water, being victorious. Right. Yeah. It also happens in The Return of the King. It's how it starts, but there's kind of a continuation where it's after the battle where they flood the whole place. They're standing in like waist high water, and they're starting to be hit with food, talking to each other about how they kick ass or whatever. They're getting hit with food, and then they find a pantry and they find a bunch of weed, and they start smoking the weed and eating the food. And that's in the extended cut of this movie, and it's fucking great. Yeah. It's after all this other stuff that we saw. It's before the Gollum scene. It's like the last thing you see before they're in the forest and Gollum is talking about killing Sam and Frodo. So that's still the last scene, but it really adds a lightness and it makes it transition better to Sam and Frodo, because like the whole movie Sam and Frodo are miserable, and then the last scene with them they're happy, and it's kind of like a little odd. Like a little bit. I still kind of like it how they're happy. It makes you feel better at the end of the movie.
You don't want to end on this fucking depressing thing anyway.
But seeing Merry and Pippin, because they're kind of miserable the whole movie too, and then they find the pantry, and then it transitions to like all the hobbits are happy again. Like it kind of helps you get there a little more logically. It just works better for me, I think. I don't know. But they had to cut it down to 3 hours. That was part of the thing. They had to get the first 2 movies down below 3 hours. That was a requirement.
I mean, how could it not
cut things
out. You can't sell that shit. It takes forever.
Yeah. But by the third movie, sorry, TC, the theatrical cut, 3 hours, 20 minutes long.
Are we watching that one?
What are you talking about?
What are we going to do now?
We got to watch that one too?
No, we're good. We've had enough. We're good.
I think I got it now.
So, TC,
let's pause.
Do something else. What happens?
Are you at all excited to see how the story ends? Not really. Are you just like not involved at all in this?
Yeah, I'm just sitting through it, riding it out, man, holding on tight.
Ooh, look at that.
Thanks, man.
Oh, I don't like that.
I appreciate the effort. This is your entire experience with this entire fucking podcast, by the way. This is entirely your fault. You could have quit this 8 years ago, dude. And you're still here every week.
Hey, I think sometimes I get a real enjoyment out of it.
Danny, don't drive him away, man. Don't bring this up.
There's no way he's leaving now. Are you kidding me? 8 years in?
I don't know.
Not going anywhere now. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, good. I just didn't want to point it out. That's all. Okay.
We pointed it out before.
Yeah, we definitely pointed it out. I think I've pointed it out multiple times.
I know.
But yeah, I think it's a good story. I think if you're into fantasy, I could see there's so many moving parts that for someone with ADD, it's just tough for me to watch this and pay attention.
This one's hard. The third one is more bringing it all back together. So
that'll be good.
This one is real tough. I think
this one is still tough. Like even after watching it so many times, I'm still like a little confused about where they're going and stuff. Like I looked at a map. They have like an interactive map on the DVD where you can see where they're moving and stuff, and it helps a lot because like
I'm sure
They like Sam and Frodo's storyline is the most confusing. They're walking through rocks. All of a sudden, they see a bunch of elephants. They get kidnapped by a bunch of elves. They get brought fucking somewhere in like a cave, and then they threaten Gollum. And then they get brought to like a ruined city, and you're like, "Where the fuck is this?" And then they get attacked by Nazgul, and then they like release them.
They were humans, not elves, by the way. But whatever.
That's true. Sorry, they're dressed in like little Link. They're dressed in like Link hats. You know, they have like the archer outfits on.
Right. They do have the little Robin Hood thing going on.
They have like the little green hoods and the green pointy hats and stuff. Yeah.
Hiya, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I'd be interested to see how it goes. I guess I don't.
Oh, you're going to.
I mean, well, that
yeah,
I know,
that's
but
right.
I mean, they do a great job of not really letting you know where it's going, I guess. So, do they really wrap it up in the next one, or are there more after that? I don't even know.
Oh, they over wrap it up.
gonna
They pack
totally
it
wrap
in
up.
3 plastic bags.
There's a lot of lingering looks there as the wrapping up occurs. Don't
It
you
was the
worry.
biggest complaint of the movie.
You think you've had enough of face shots, buddy?
Oh, they're coming.
You don't know.
All
If
right.
you don't like the soft slow mo, if you blow out the image and do it slightly slow mo, it's coming.
boy.
Oh, it's coming.
Okay.
I do like the what's his name? The Theoden slow mo. Like I like almost every cheap trick they pull on this because I think it works with the weight of the story and stuff.
They pull it off with some majesty with the battles, and I like it. I love it. I love this. Like, all right, we're gonna go die or something right now. Let's go. All right, let's do this. I love it. I think they do it.
Let's
well.
ride out. Ride out for glory.
That's good.
You're like, yeah, here they go.
All right, go guys.
Suicide mission. Fuck it.
That's right. I think before I don't want to forget, like I think again, it's a the opening sequence is another home run, just like the first movie.
Agreed.
Like seeing the mountains, hearing the voices, giving you some remembrance of what happened, and then Gandalf's fucking battle with the Balrog is so fucking good. The descent as they're like falling down is just ridiculously beautiful, and just awesome. I love that opening sequence again, like because. The first one of the Fellowship is one of my favorites too, where they show the battle and you get the arrow through Elrond's hair and all that. And I love it. And this one is just as fucking good. I don't remember what they do for the third, so I'm kind of excited to see if it
also
matches
awesome.
it. Yeah, so I'm
I
sure.
mean, Denny,
it's
you're going to say
Smeagol,
it's
John.
awesome no matter what.
It is awesome. It's fucking awesome.
But I imagine it's what
Smeagol,
they. I feel like
Exactly.
they work their asses off on these. They're like, okay, we're starting again. We got to really catch everybody up, but also do something really cool.
That whole sequence, John,
Yeah.
was made because it's again a lot of the trivia is going to be Alan Lee and John Howe, these two artists that have for the past 50 years or whatever been illustrating Lord of the Rings books. There's like illustrated versions you can get, and it's between these two artists who are the second and third biggest fans behind Christopher Lee. I still think Christopher Lee is the biggest fan. Christopher Lee literally read Lord of the Rings back to front once a year his entire life.
Wow.
Super fan. He met Tolkien, and it's Tolkien. I paid attention this time.
Oh, good job.
Most people say Tolkien.
Say Tolkien, right?
Tolkien.
Or it's Tolkien is the way you should say it, though, right? Or Tolkien.
That's what more people than not say. Some people also say Tolkien. So
Okay, cool.
That's
I
how
don't
I've
know.
heard it mostly.
I've heard
Yeah.
Tolkien, but
But these
Tolkien-
people are
now-
British
now I'm gonna
and
say Tolkien.
Scottish and New Zealand-ish. They're not
They're
from the
kind
United
of from
States.
New Zealand.
Yeah, maybe it's
depends.
like Australian.
Wait,
Yeah,
what
but
do
these
you call
two
it?
guys. So just to get back to the thing I started talking about, John Howe, half of the artistic team of every single detail of art in this movie and every like scene and stuff. That whole thing wasn't really written in Lord of the Rings. The fall down the pit and the battle with the Balrog.
Yeah, right.
It was because
Gandalf
John
just
Howe,
describes it later, like
and it wasn't even described in detail in the same way.
Right.
John Howe had an image. It was the one where it pulls way back at the end of that scene, and you have you can see the big cavern, and they're just coming through the hole, and you
Right,
see the
and-
flaming
yeah.
thing. That was a painting, and that painting spurred the idea in Peter Jackson's mind of we need to make a scene out of this because this painting is so fucking good. We need to do this, and then they were getting studio pressure to have another prologue. Like the studio was against the prologue at the beginning of the first one, but then it worked so fucking good. So then the studio for the second one was like, we need Cate Blanchett to do another prologue because that was great. And Peter Jackson's like, we can't do that. We have to get right to the action. It's been a year. People will remember. Like, we can't do it like the same thing twice. That's stupid.
Right. It would have been sort of it would have been a retread if Cate Blanchett sits there and talks in her mysterious voice again.
Yep.
And so
it would
again,
have been fine maybe, but like not like this. This movie kicks you into it so awesome. It is so awesome. And it's all from
brilliant.
Peter Jackson. The idea of hearing the voices through the mountain, Peter Jackson. The idea of taking that picture and creating a scene out of it, Peter Jackson.
Wow.
The fact that it was like kind of gives you a prologue because it brings you back to the first movie and tells you where Gandalf is.
As if you're, but it does it as if you're remembering it. It's beautiful. Like the scenery is fucking gorgeous for starters, which is great. But yeah, it's like you're hearing the voices coming through the mountains and stuff, and you're hearing the echoes of it as you're traveling across the mountains. It's just, I mean, I don't know. The more we talk about it, the more like amazing, the more you can appreciate it. It's like wow, because again, the in the way it's even better than the first because the first you got a story to tell and you got some images to show for that story to give you the history. And yeah, it's fucking done well, and the narration and the voice of Cate Blanchett is awesome.
That's part of the movie potentially,
right? Arguably so. Although
part of
you'd
the
always
series,
shit on me for that because that's when I fall asleep after that, right? But yeah, I would agree. This time it's even better in a sense because they've got a more challenging task. They're not going to do that same thing, and they do something that's more subtle in a way. But then
it's more succinct
awesome because of what they show.
It's more action packed.
Right.
It brings you into the movie so perfectly because then it cuts to like when they hit the water, it cuts to Frodo. Then you're in the fucking movie. You're there,
and then you're right back, right?
Yeah,
and you're and Frodo, and because it's Frodo sort of dreaming this, right?
Yeah.
So you're pulled right into his spot. And yeah, it's brilliantly done.
It is.
But arguably, yeah, my favorite part.
I mean, it's hard to say. They spend a lot of time thinking about how to start these movies.
Yeah,
because it matters. Like,
it does.
There's a lot in the middle, more so in this one than the first one, where the middle parts aren't as important as the beginning or end. Right? Like, you remember the beginning, you remember the end. The middle of this one seems to me more like, I don't know. I'm waving my hands around right now. I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know. It's I don't love this one as much as the first one because I feel like there's no like the drive of the story of the first one is like my favorite part of it. And the journey, and this one feels less like a journey because of the fragmentation. I feel like that's not the movie's fault; it's the story's fault.
Yeah,
but like, what are you going to do about that?
Because there's so much happening in parallel that you kind of have to
whenever
go
they cut
separate ways in the movie, but. I don't know. You can really get lost as they skip around.
Yeah, but they still all love
the end stuff.
Source
slows
material.
it down. It stops the momentum when they go to the end stuff. A lot of the time,
because the ints like that's the whole point of the ints. They're slow,
right?
That's like
Peter was pushing for more slowness, and everyone else is fighting him. They're like, "Dude, we have to make a movie people will like," and he's like, "But ents are slow."
I know they are. That's the whole point. The book. There's a lot more in the book about this, and they spend days in the moot. And
what's the moot?
That's the int moot. That's where all the ints are talking and negotiating and figure out what they do, and it takes days in the book.
Oh wow!
And Pippin and Merry are like hanging out with some other younger rascally tree herder while the int moot's going on. The whole other character is introduced, and they go hang out with that character. But yeah, it's so yeah.
So are they less annoyed in the book than they are in this movie?
Well,
or are they still worried?
In the book, if I remember right, Merry doesn't lead them to Isengard. The ints decide themselves that they're going to war. They don't get there. They don't go there and see that there's the destruction and then decide that they're going to go to war. So the ints sit and talk for days and figure and say, no, we're going to go do this. So there's not that annoyance with Merry and Pippin in the book, I don't think, if I remember right. My
favorite line in this movie is when Pippin convinces Treebeard to turn around. He's like, what does he say? He's like, the closer we're out of danger, the further we are from harm.
No,
he's like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Both of those guys,
you are very small.
I know.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Again, those guys are great. I mean, all of those actors are so great to watch, and both Pippin and Merry are also really just fun to watch, and they're just so like, I don't know, just like so wily and fun loving. It's neat to see them. I don't know. That's good times, good movie.
Good movie.
Sometimes and confusing.
Don't you love this, TC? Just
I love it. I mean, it makes it easy for me to edit because it's just you two talking, you know?
What was your favorite part of the movie, TC?
I don't know.
I thought we covered it was the love story.
No, that was like what brought you through. But like, was Helm's Deep as a first time viewer of that? Like, did that hit you as like, holy shit, this is amazing, or has it been like surpassed a number of times in the past 20 plus years? Because back then it was like the best.
Yeah,
action scene.
I think it's dated itself a little bit when you have those large wide shots and you can see all the creatures below, and you're like, that's not real.
CG. Yeah.
Yeah.
It still looks pretty good though.
It looks good. No, I
good.
guess I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I have a favorite part. I mean, it's all kind of blurred together at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of fight scenes. So anytime they were fighting, that was good. I didn't like the Frodo parts. I thought they were useless. So, yeah, I don't know. Got nothing for you, Denny.
No, I'm trying. I'm gonna keep trying.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we got 40 minutes in. Are we done talking about the movie? I'm not going to go scene for scene in this one because I feel like
that would take forever.
It took a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes and a lot of different groups to introduce.
There's a lot of
different people in there.
And I wanted to do it for the first one because I'm selfish and I love that one and that sounded fun to me. This one doesn't sound as fun to me, so we're not going to do it. So hopefully that's okay with you guys.
That's fine. You're the boss.
Thanks.
But also, that's good.
So what else do we do before trivia?
Take a break.
Why? Is there a lot of trivia?
There's a decent amount of trivia.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of book stuff really in the sense of like it's kind of the same as the first one. It's not like there's these huge things. It's more like ordering and like how they didn't they decided to interleave the story, which makes sense. That things are a bit further along in the Two Towers in the book than where they end it before going to Return of the King. So there's some more stuff that happens that then gets covered in Return of the King in the movies that isn't covered in the Two Towers. So again, I think they just yep. Spider and the big spider. Sorry, giveaway. Sorry, but there's a big spider, TC.
I don't like that.
Oh, you're gonna fucking love it.
Big scary spider.
Yeah, you're actually gonna be on the edge of your seat potentially.
I can't believe it's 3 hours and 20 minutes long.
You better bring your piss Nalgene, TC, because you're gonna have to pee on your couch.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you guys not do that?
Chug action. Oh yeah.
But I think that like what's so awesome is how much they captured so much of what the book does, because they all loved it. I mean, again, you can see that they loved the source material. They wanted to honor it. They wanted to be true to it, and that's part of why this is so good and so probably so neat to watch. You got a bunch of passionate people trying to do something they love, bring something they love to life, and so when you look at the books and try to compare it to the movie, it's really awesome how these are really complex books, complex stories. There's an awful lot they could do and like you said, Denny, a lot of what they do is still consolidated, but they still really try hard to capture the essence of each of the things that's happening, and they do it really well. It's great to see, like, you read these scenes in the book where they're talking about, like before seeing the movie, reading the scene in the book, how Sam and Frodo are talking about being in a story one day and the importance of stories. And it's really good in the book. And it's hard to imagine it being so good in a movie, or being able to like really top it as it's done in the movie. And it's awesome to see when you then see like Samwise in particular and how they're doing it. And you got the flutes in the background, with the score. It's just beautiful. So it's just really neat to see how well it's realized.
Agreed. And then the juxtaposition in that scene with Schmeagol like plotting to kill them, like it's
right, of course,
pretty good scene.
Yeah, the danger.
That's one of the things too I miss in the first movie. Like I thought that might help TC is there's a lot less score in this movie, and it's a lot less over everything. Over the first
but it's
movie.
tough because like it's still very like epic as if it's about to end, and then it doesn't, and you go into the next scene. And you're like, wow.
Oh man, TC, it's never gonna end. Just when you watch the next one, just think to yourself, it's not gonna end.
Okay,
and you might enjoy it more.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do like the score in the first one. I realized like that's one of the reasons I like the first one the most, because there's a few songs in there they play kind of a lot and over again, and I fucking love them. I think they fit perfectly with what's going on. This movie uses a lot less score, and it's a lot less flashy, a lot less like catchy, and a lot of the scenes, like the beginning of Helm's Deep, don't use a score, and I think it's really cool how they don't. When like
Is
the
it
rain
because
starts
of
and
it's
they're
because
waiting.
of the fighting and stuff too? I mean, they want to open it up so that there's
But
no.
they want to capture
they
like the
capture
battle
some really
sounds.
cool sound. So like some of the chanting they got of the Orakai was Peter Jackson planned this. He went to a 25,000 person stadium for a cricket match.
Oh, wow.
In New Zealand, and he went into the center during halftime with a full stadium and commanded people with microphones all over the place to chant this random freaking
Wow.
bullshit from these
Nice.
books, and they all did because it's a cricket game and they're all drunk, so they do
Right.
whatever the fuck this guy. And also, just imagine whenever I talk about Peter Jackson in these things, he's kind of a fat guy, kind of has a really scraggly beard and scraggly hair. He doesn't shower ever. He's got a loose fitting t-shirt on his fat body. He's got cargo shorts on, and he's got no shoes on.
Wow.
Ever.
So
he
he's
never
a
has
whack
shoes on.
Is what you're saying.
He's a hobbit.
He's comfortable, you know?
He's himself.
He's the most energetic fat guy I've ever seen. Chris Farley was like top tier for a while, but he had like cocaine and stuff going on. I think this
That's
guy's just
true.
like a super nerd.
Oh, yeah.
It just like is motivated by his nerdness. I don't know how he's fat, and I'm not trying to fat shame, but like holy shit, this guy worked 16 hours a day for 4 years to make this movie.
That's crazy.
So like, I don't get how you're fat if you do that.
He because they got good crafty, man.
But, or some people just have.
They
some-
talked about
some-
crafty a lot.
Yeah.
Some
They're
people
good.
just have
good
efficient
eats.
metabolisms or whatever. I mean, it's just the
Got
way your
the
body
insulins.
works. You just
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you think that at some point, he worked harder than most people in the history of the world have ever worked. I mean,
On
I
a
don't know.
movie, you mean?
That's on a movie for
Yeah.
sure. But 16 hours a day for 4 years.
That sounds like,
the
you know,
dude-
one of
Yeah,
those
it's
tech
pretty
assholes.
crazy.
for 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Crazy.
he stayed sane. Like not even Spielberg stayed sane when he was doing Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year, and that was only 1 year. This guy was
I
doing
didn't
this
know.
for years. and
Spielberg
years.
went off the deep end. What was he doing?
He did.
Did he like get on a bicycle and start?
He doesn't
riding around
remember
and-
making Jurassic Park.
Oh,
He
I didn't
forgets
know that.
things. He has like missing things in his memory.
Is
'Cause that
that
year
the
was-
drug?
His
It's not
dementia,
maybe also
I
the
think, is
drugs.
Lack of sleep. Apparently,
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
Spielberg
Oh,
ever
okay.
did drugs. It was like these.
I was thinking
directors-
like David Bowie, you know, like, oh, those 3 albums I don't remember.
Yeah,
Well, it's 'cause
right,
he was
'cause he
doing
was all
cocaine in
fucking-
Berlin.
Didn't know
Yeah,
what was
just
going on.
cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I know.
You listen to station, you're like, yeah, this guy doesn't know what's going on. This is good.
No, but it's really good.
Yeah. But no, not Peter Jackson. There's no stories of him doing any substances.
No.
He seems like he doesn't. He's just a super freaking nerd that has shit tons of energy for this. And
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
fact that he can take it all, like he takes, everyone's working as hard as they can and they filter it to him.
Mm.
And he can take it and process it. Right? I mean, I work with a lot of people. This project, me and my wife are engineering. We're engineers, and like this seems like an engineering project of like the most massive scale of all time. And he's not an engineer, right? Like
Right.
he's taking things that people build. They're literally building things, and he needs to like plan for. There's budgetary things. Like there's a lot of movie stuff, but there's some. The amount of models they have is pretty engineering
Specific.
tangent,
Yeah.
right?
Just
There's nothing to
building the
compare it to.
sets and
It-
doing
it's-
all that stuff. It's a
He
lot
deals
of,
with it without,
Yeah.
He's the CEO.
I don't know. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
There's-
it is. It's amazing that the feat. This movie is such a feat. Like, not just that it was one movie too. Like, but they did all 3 at once. And I don't think there's ever, like you said, this isn't going to happen again necessarily. It's hard to imagine it happening again this way with the budget, with the talent, with the passion, and the length, like the epicness of it. That they're going to do it all at once. I mean, then he turned around and did The Hobbit too, I think, right? I don't think he was like initially going to, but then there's weirdness with that
money.
one. But
Money happens, and then he
Oh,
did.
money happens. Yeah.
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 Sometimes money happens, and then things happen.
And when money happens, it shows.
Mhm.
But it's
like
just,
this was a passion project for Peter Jackson from the beginning, and The Hobbit was a cash grab, and it is fucking obvious.
Yeah.
Right? Because like Peter Jackson, the director who's filtering all these ideas and having all these artists give him shit that he wants, he's been thinking about what he wants for years and years and years. And for The Hobbit, he was just like, they're writing a new script. Like it doesn't even match the book. This is all new. I can't be passionate about
right.
this.
Also, somehow we have to make this one book into 3 movies.
Right. That's
Um,
that's a pretty big problem.
Yeah.
But it shows, yeah. It's like the biggest nerd project ever.
It's great.
Peter.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
I mean, it captures something about whether it's fantasy or science fiction or these sort of like imaginary worlds where people get really, it becomes valuable, very valuable to them. And to see them like turn around and like take that like sense of value and then want to recreate it and honor it. It's pretty cool. There's something really, I don't know, really special seeming about that. I don't know. Or even like again, like Star Wars and stuff like that too, where they're like, well, they've got these ideas in the sense of different future and a different way of showing things, but still having that be meaningful to us and feeling really passionate about that. There's something really special about that stuff that when people are doing this so well, and it because part of it is just so creative too. I mean, there's something we love about like drama and things like that, the real life movies that are done really well, but it's a different thing than the kind of creativity and imagination parts that feel so, there's something that seems so hopeful and inspiring about that piece, about the just creative part of it, the imagination part of it. I don't know, that makes it just like a very like, if you're into it and you watch it, it feels very hopeful. It feels very like affirming of like people. I don't know.
It does. We can do some crazy fucking things, man. Humans are absolutely insane. Like we can create things that don't exist on something that you can watch. Like that's fucking magic. We can perform magic.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
it's
cool.
sweet.
We can put tariffs on them too,
Fuck you, TC. Get out of here. Edit yourself out of the podcast.
Yeah,
then you got to ask, are we getting paid enough for this?
If we could do all those things, then we can put tariffs on them, right?
That's right. Then we got to get some money for it. We ain't getting money, right?
Money happens, am I right?
Speaking of money, Weta, WETA, it's the special effects company that almost got the project of creating Gollum out of its hands and given to Industrial Light and Magic because they didn't think Weta could do it. But Weta was like, "Fuck you guys, we're better than Weta or better than ILM," and they proved themselves and they got the project. Didn't hurt that Peter Jackson owns the company, but
I was going to say,
but New Line controls this. New Line's still the production company, so even though it's like Peter was so good that he had the run of the job, because he was so competent, but like New Line still was there kind of, being the production company, like giving him suggestions and how to edit it, giving him like ideas and what they should be doing with the money and things like that.
Yep.
To be fair, Peter Jackson did all what he needed to do. It seemed kind of easy because like anytime he asked for extra money, he would send them like something they could digest. It's like, hey, this scene is going to be really good. We need 2 more shots and we need to call the actors back. This is like 2 years after they like principal
after the
photography.
first time.
Yeah. They're like, we need to build a set. It's going to cost like, $500,000. We need it. It's going to make the story good. And New Line was like, yeah,
Sure.
we'll do it. 100%.
What money?
Especially after the first movie, like first movie made over $900 million. This movie made $920 million.
Wow.
And then the third one made $1.1 billion.
Wow.
Wow. Is that your Christopher Walken?
Wow.
They were made for about $95 million each because they were bundled together.
Crazy.
Yeah. These movies are so fucking epic. And they created technology to do it. Like there's so much new technology. There were so many artists working on it. The commentary tracks, one of them was like the production side, pre and post production teams. And there were like 15 to 20 people on the commentary track. Like that's absurd. And they edited them together. Like they would have like groups of, between 2 and 5 people in a room together doing the commentary. And they would just like edit points of like who had the most to say about this one topic throughout the fucking movie.
Wow.
The 4-hour long extended edition version of The Two Towers, which is where the commentary tracks live.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of the artistry of movies and things like that, it adds to the experience. Like it makes me, it's hard not to appreciate this stuff even more to the point of being annoyingly positive in talking about it,
Sure. I mean, as long as you're happy, Danny.
I'm so happy.
Oh, hey, it's great. It's very life affirming.
It is. All right. So we're at 54 minutes. Do we want to take a break and then get into trivia? Because there is quite a bit of trivia.
That's right.
Sure.
You should probably stretch our legs. You don't want blood clots forming.
Florming.
We're gonna florm our way out of here.
Speaking of blood clots, John.
I know. I'm tired. I'm sleepy.
We'll be back in a bit.
Really flyers.
I'm on the